All right. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. Those of you that have joined the call, there may be a few more trickling in, but with the time being about 2 minutes past two, we're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome. Let's introduce some of the people who are on the call. First of all, our wonderful assistant principals. We have Ms. Lutz, who is the assistant principal who oversees ninth graders at McCaskey East, and the effervescent Miss Moody, who is our assistant principal at JP, who oversees ninth graders. So I'm just going to pass it to them to say hello and make some introductions and maybe give us a few opening remarks.
All right, I guess Miss Moody's going to let me go first. Hi, everybody. I'm Mrs. Lutz. I am so glad that you joined us today. There is some great information that's going to be shared with you from some students who literally were just here in the spring. So they know what it's like to go to school during COVID. They also know what it's like to graduate during COVID.
Hi, everyone. I'm Miss Moody. I'm the assistant principal, ninth grade at JP. And we're happy to see all of you. It's a great day to be a tornado, and we're looking forward to today's presentation. So thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss Lutz and Miss Moody. I can also go ahead and introduce myself. That would be appropriate. My name is Mr. Jago. I'm the College and Career Specialist at JP McCaskey. Some of those other names on the screen are my colleagues on the Future Ready team who serve students at both buildings, McCaskey East and JP. And then we're thrilled to have some guests from outside of our district with us today. We have Ms. Christina Williams, who is a proud McCaskey grad as well. She serves as the Assistant Director for SAS, for the Student Access and Support Services at Millersville, and oversees the Lancaster Partnership Program, which we're going to hear about later on in this presentation. And then we're also delighted to be joined by Ms. Marisol Santos and Mr. Joe Mobley from the Mix at Arbor Place. They're going to talk about some of the services that they provide for some of our students here in the city. And then, as our principals mentioned, we have some recent McCaskey grads with us. We're delighted to have, I think, Dejan Manning. If he's not on the call yet, he soon will be. Mr. Jason Brown, who is at Michigan State University. Dejan is at Kent State. We also have Alan Sanchez with us, who is studying at Millersville University. Davionce Rodriguez, who is at Lincoln. And Jose Tirado, who is at Emmanuel College down in Georgia. So we're very happy to have those grads with us. We love it when our students want to come back and give back to our community and help the students who are now going through McCaskey. If you have questions for our grad students or any of the other panelists, please go ahead and put them in the Q&A. We have people on the call who will be answering those in real time. If your question doesn't get answered, as in if you don't receive a written response, it may be that it will be answered when one of those panelists has an opportunity to present later on in the presentation. So whether it's answered in real time or during the course of the presentation, your questions will be answered. So please have those coming in. Okay. So the reason that we're having this meeting, and Ms. Lutz and Ms. Moody asked us to put this together, is just to really get all on the same page and understand the importance of ninth grade. You guys are one marking period in. You're doing awesome under the circumstances. You know, this is a new experience for all of us with virtual learning. But ninth grade is really the keystone, the cornerstone of your high school career. All of these different things you can see on the screen explaining to us just how important it is to make a strong start to high school. It's a big transition, and some of our grad students, I think, we'll talk about later because they've done it, you know, a few years ago. It's a huge transition to go from middle school to high school. And this year, it's a little bit different, you know, for all of us. Like I said, we're all getting used to this virtual learning. I'm sure you've seen the video that the campus principals put out earlier, you know, about resetting for marking period 2. And that's kind of a similar theme that we're discussing this afternoon. The good news is you're not alone. Okay, there are so many people here at campus who want to help you be successful. Primarily your teachers. You know, they love you. They get up every day because they want to come and teach you and make you great. Your school counselors, very important in your high school career and beyond. The future ready staff, so me and my colleagues who work with you on planning what you want to do after high school. I know you're only ninth grade, but this is the time to start thinking about it, as I hope at the end of this presentation, you'll understand why. If you're an athlete or an aspiring athlete, your coaches are invested in not just your athletic performance, but your academics as well. You know, I'm sure you've seen the movie Coach Carter. He's a student athlete, student comes first. That's true here at McCaskey. So your coaches are also invested in your success. Our college partners, including Millersville, we have other local colleges that are really interested in you doing well because they probably want you to go there when you finish high school. Community partners, likewise. Our city does well when we are producing outstanding graduates who are going to add value to Lancaster. So we have community partners on the call, and there are others in the local area that are invested in your success. Our school social workers are SFRSs. We have Miss Liz at JP, Miss Fitzpatrick at East. Again, another resource for you if you are struggling. And our campus admin. They are the people that put this call together, who wanted this webinar to take place because they care about your success as well. We have an academic advisor on staff who can support you as well. And then our upperclassmen, you know, they're a great resource to you. Our seniors, our juniors, they've been right where you were very recently. And our graduate students as well, I would include in that. You know, they are here today because they wanted to just give back and give some advice to you to be successful in high school. So again, we're grateful for them to be here. But the most important person in this process is each and every one of you. You need to want this to have a successful time here at the school. If you don't want to be successful in high school, we're not going to stop doing our jobs. We're still going to be here for you every single day, ensuring that we do the best we can to help you be successful. But if you do want to be successful as well, then what we can do together is limitless. We can help you achieve exactly what it is that you want to achieve. And that's what we're here to do. So I'm just going to briefly talk about two main indicators of post-secondary success, that is success after high school. And these are things that are very much in your control. A lot of stuff in the world right now feels like it's outside of your control. And trust me, it feels like that for us as well. But there are some things that you can control. First of which is your attendance in high school. It's one of the two strongest indicators. You have to be here in school on time every day. Obviously, you can't be here physically right now, but as the video that was released today with Mr. Diaz reminded you, wake up on time, log in, be present in your classes, share your camera if you're comfortable with your teachers. They would love to see your faces. And we're building good habits for the future. Good attendance is a habit. You know, if you don't attend classes at high school, that's one thing. It's going to hurt your academics. But if you carry that habit into your adult life, and if you stop attending at a job, you're going to get fired. And that's going to be a big issue. So start building that habit now of having good attendance at high school, and you'll be surprised to see how quickly your grades start to go up. And then the other one I'm going to mention at a little bit more length is GPA. I don't know if you're familiar with the term. Hopefully you are, but if not, we're going to explain it right now. So your grade point average, this is something that will follow you through high school and beyond. So please do pay attention. In high school, each of the grades that you earn is worth a certain number of points. So you can see from the table here, an A is worth 4, B is worth 3, etc. And your grade point average is the number of points that you earn from all of your grades divided by the number of classes you took in that particular marking period or year or whatever it is. So I'm going to give you an example here. This is a slightly simplified example. This would be a freshman student who took 7 classes. You can see A's and B's and C's. You can see the points that each of those grades is worth on the right-hand side. And all of those points added together, divided by the number of classes, which in this case was 7, gave that student a grade point average of a 2.95, so just below a B. And here's a real example. This is a McCaskey transcript. So a student in freshman year, A's and B's and C's, came out with a 2.85. So again, just below a B. Where it starts to get a little bit more complicated and has important implications for your college career and things like that is cumulative GPA. So cumulative GPA is where we take all 4 years of your high school GPA and average those. So if you see the example on the screen, the student as a freshman had a 2.5, as a sophomore stepped it up a little bit, 2.76, really started clicking as a junior and a senior. Maybe they were taking classes they really enjoy. They just figured out how high school works, how to learn effectively, got all A's and B's. So you can see at the far right there, their GPA for all 4 years divided by 4 gave them a high school GPA of a 3.08. So again, about a B average, very solid, very good to get into college. Here's where having a bad year on your transcript can make a big difference. So the different student who really struggled in freshman year, you can see 2 Fs on the transcript, C's and D's. Fs are a really quick way to kill your GPA because an F brings 0 points to the total, but you still have to count that class when you divide by the number of classes that you took. So you can see this student as a freshman, 0.93 GPA. And then as a sophomore, started to turn it around, got a 2.0, that's a C average. And as a junior and a senior, they did great, A's and B's, very similar to the previous example. So we can see that what that student's potential was, but having a poor freshman year on their transcript gave them a cumulative GPA of a 2.4. So the difference between their potential of being a 3.5, B plus A student, they finished with a GPA of a 2.4. And in the world in which I work, which is helping students get to college if that's what they want to do, that can have an effect. If you look on the left, there's that student with the 3.1 GPA, and if they wanted to go to this particular college, it gives them almost a 90% chance of getting in because the average GPA for that school is a 3.0. This other student on the right-hand side has almost a 30% lower chance of getting into that same college just because of that one bad freshman year that brought their GPA all the way down to a 2.4. We can see from their junior and senior year that academically they were pretty even. Both had the same potential, A's and B's, but one bad year is really going to bring that score down. Something to remember at this point, GPA does not affect your value of a human being. We're not saying if you have a lower GPA, you can't be successful in life. That's absolutely not true. But what it can affect is maybe getting into the college that you really wanted to get into, maybe being eligible for collegiate sports or, to earn some scholarships, and Ms. Christina is going to mention a scholarship as we go on through the presentation. So there are some consequences to letting that GPA slip. So here's a couple of real examples. These are our real McCaskey students. This is a student who was trending up from 9th grade. So in 9th grade, good grades, 2.7. As a sophomore, went up a little bit higher, 2.95, almost a 3.0. As an 11th grader, great, A's and B's, looks really fantastic. And as a senior, kicked on another gear, finished with a 3.5. So those 4 years averaged out, gave this student a GPA 3.1 weighted, a little bit lower non-weighted. We're not going to talk in too much detail today about weighted versus non-weighted GPA, but just to say that some of the classes you'll take as you progress through high school are weighted, meaning they're worth more points. So if you take an honors class, AP or IB class, if you take a college dual enrollment class, those classes are actually worth more points. So that's a really fantastic way to raise your GPA. Okay, so that's a student that was trending in the right direction. Here's an example of a student that had one poor year. So as a 9th grader, 2.5, even though they failed one class, the fact they got mostly B's and B pluses in their other classes kept them up, 2.6, that's pretty decent. And then as a 10th grader, something clearly went wrong. We can see the difference between 9th and 10th grade there, that this is probably an anomaly. So if there's something going on in your life outside of school that is affecting your grades, really important to talk to all of those people that want to support your success at high school so that we know what's going on, so that we can help support you and get you through whatever's going on before it starts to affect your grades like this. You can see it's 0.7 for 10th grade. And then as an 11th grader, pretty much all A's and B's. So that clearly was an anomaly. That 10th grade year was not normal for this student. This is a great student, 3.3 as an 11th grader. As a senior, 3.6, mostly all A's and B's. So we know the potential of this student, but this is what they finished with. So this student had planned to go to some very selective colleges that were looking for that kind of 3.5 GPA, but because that 10th grade was so poor, it really brought the grades down. This student is actually at Hack right now, and she's doing fine, and she's going to rebuild her grades and probably transfer into a 4-year school. But that 10th grade year forced her to have to go down kind of plan B. So something to consider. And then the last example I'm going to give you would be a student who did okay in 9th grade year, certainly didn't fail anything. You know, scored 2.23, it's like a C plus almost kind of average. But then dropped off in 10th grade. We got some Fs on here, a couple Ds for a 1.3. And then what we didn't see in 11th grade was an improvement. It actually got worse. A couple Fs again, more Ds. And then something clicked in 12th grade year. This student did great, 3.4. But the damage had already been done. So this is what that student ended up with. This student wanted to go to Thaddeus Stevens, a great local college, a local 2-year technical college. Their minimum GPA to get in is a 2.0. So because that damage was done in 10th and 11th grade on their GPA, they actually were not able to go to Thaddeus Stevens. That's another student who is now at Hack and looking to kind of, you know, get into Thaddeus Stevens next year. But again, just evidence that having a couple, 1 or 2 bad years on your transcript, it's going to really hurt that cumulative GPA. So it's important to really think about that as you're going forwards. The good news is that we have time. If your grades are looking pretty good right now, that's awesome. It's still important that you hear this information. If you didn't have a great first marking period, and that's understandable under the circumstances, we still have time. There's 15 marking periods left for you in high school to turn those grades around. And it's normal to struggle as a freshman. You know, it really is. It's a huge transition from 8th to 9th grade, new building, which technically you haven't even seen yet. You know, the class rigor is different. The number of classes you're taking is different. It's a big change. And that can actually work in your favor. You know, if your GPA is showing that upward trajectory, like that first example I showed you, if I'm a college admissions counselor and I'm looking at your transcript, that works for me because I can see someone that, you know, maybe struggled a little bit in 9th grade, but figured it out, you know, knuckled down and got the work done. And if I see those grades start to go up through 10th, 11th, 12th grade, that's a student that I want to see at my college. Where it becomes a little bit trickier is if your GPA is trending in the other direction. If you come in as a 9th grader and an A and B student and you're doing great, and then in 10th grade it's B's and C's, and 11th grade it's C's and D's, that's going to be tricky for me as a college admissions rep. If I see someone who, you know, their grades are going in that direction, I don't know if I'm going to take a chance on someone who had a good year when they were 14, 15, but haven't shown me anything since then. So as long as your grades are trending up as you go through high school, I think you're going to be just great. In order to do that, if you are struggling, please, please, please seek help before it's too late. You know, you can get into a vicious cycle very easily. If you're not doing so well in a class and you start skipping the class, well, because you're now skipping the class, you're going to do even worse in the class. So it's really important if you feel yourself slipping in one of your classes, reach out to that teacher as soon as you can. Discuss with them, be honest with them, be open with them. They will appreciate that and say, look, I know I'm really struggling. I know things have slipped, but I really want to do well in this class. Like, let's make a plan together and be successful in this class. And your teachers will be very open to you doing that, I promise you. There are some other resources available to you. Our extended day program is fully virtual and fully operational. So this is tutoring, and it's something that is open to all students, whether you're struggling or not. Something I hope our McCaskey grads on the call are going to speak to is, in a college setting, people who go to the tutoring center aren't always failing. Sometimes they're doing really well and they want to do even better. So it's totally normal to go to the extended day program to get some assistance with your classes. Those staff are available to you. So please take advantage of that. Link Crew, again, I'm going to allow McCaskey grads to talk a little bit about that, but Link Crew is also a great resource for you as a freshman. You can be connected with a senior here at McCaskey who will be your link leader, and they will check in with you. They'll find out how you're doing. They can share resources with you. You know, they can meet with you regularly to make sure that you're on track, and it's a really fantastic program. Obviously, with COVID, it's a little bit different, but it's still an important program. So if you're interested in being connected with a senior, contact Ms. Welk. Her information is here on the screen. And then as we've been talking to students, you know, in my office, if learning at home is just not working for you, if maybe it's noisy in your home or the internet isn't great, or you don't have a place that's kind of private and your place to study, there are places in the community that are accepting students to come and work. You know, there's play buildings in the city where you can go and do your work. They have internet. All you got to do is take your iPad or your laptop, excuse me, and you can get your work done there. I'm sure you're aware as well, the high school itself is now offering these hubs where students are coming into the building and getting their work done, you know, here. So if you're interested in that, reach out to one of your teachers and ask to be recommended to be a member of one of our hubs. So with that, I've been doing a ton of talking. I am going to pass it off to the wonderful Ms. Marisol and Mr. Joe to talk about the mix at Arbor Place and to talk about some of the services that they can provide to you as ninth graders.
I can go. Do you want me to start now or are you going to play the video?
Which would you prefer? You want me to play the video?
Yeah, you can play the video first. It's fine.
All right, let's play the video.
Mix at Arbor Place was founded by Laurel Street Mennonite pastor Marvin Weaver and his wife Lois in the early 80s as a community center in Lancaster City. Over the years, the Mix at Arbor Place has evolved to include elementary as well as junior high and high school teenagers. In addition to Bible study and schoolwork assistance, the Mix encourages the students to explore performing arts as well as science, technology, engineering, and math activities. The What's for Dinner program is very important and goes beyond just fulfilling hunger. Each child is given a hot meal before going home and experiences the community and fellowship of sharing a meal with their peers and caring mentors. In 2010, the former Burlap Bag Factory building was replaced with a state-of-the-art facility that could better serve the students and the community.
And so now we have this brand new, state-of-the-art building, and we have a number of classrooms and a full-size kitchen that we're able to prepare and serve our meals. We have a full gym and weight room that we're able to serve our students, and we didn't have access to that before in the old building. So the Mix is a faith-based organization, and what that means is that we're rooted in our Christian beliefs. We accept any student into our program. Our staff are really invested in our kids and really see the bigger picture, so that's why we're very fortunate to have, the staff that we have, because they truly do care about the students and, the impact that they are making.
Everyone's so kind and everyone's willing to listen to what you have to say. I first started coming to the Mix when I was like around 10 or 11. A few people that I went to church with, they were just like, oh, come check it out, see if you like it. The thing that made me realize this was the right place is the sense of community and the fact that it is a safe place for everyone. Coming to the Mix has impacted me in a way that I'm here at the Mix doing something positive. I'm becoming a better writer, a better person, I believe. I feel like I'm kinder. I would definitely come back to the Mix because I want to help kids the way that I was helped and providing a safe place for kids that don't have it.
We need people to come in and just be a part of what we're doing. There are so many people out there who have, gifts and have talents that they can impart to our students so that we are, really staying true to our vision and our mission, which is inspiring local youth to thrive.
Okay, so I'll go first and then Joe can kind of take the end part. So like the video said, we have different programmings for students to come in and just kind of participate in. And one of them is the extended day program. So right now we have students from first grade through, I think the oldest class is 10th grade right now. And they come in and like Mr. Jago said, you just come in, bring your iPad, and we connect you to the Wi-Fi, and you get to do your assignments. We're here to kind of support you. Obviously, we're not teachers to be able to teach you the content, but we're here to help navigate you through, your assignments, whatever it is that you need help with. A lot of times, some students will either forget how to log in or something's not working for them. And being that maybe they don't have that support at home because a parent is working, you're able to come here and we're able to help navigate you through that. So we'll have all of your login information. We'll help you navigate through Zooms. We'll go in and look at your missing assignments if you have missing assignments and try to help you catch up on that. I think a lot of times, and I don't know the students that are on here now, but I know that the students that we serve that are here, they'll be frustrated because they think, well, I missed my assignment. I'm not going to do it because it's not going to be worth anything. But a lot of times what we've noticed is that if we go back into their missing work assignment and folder and they kind of work on it and submit it, they're at least given like a point, you know, even if it's just for effort. So you're still getting some type of points. And so it's good for us to be here with you because then we're able to motivate you to do that and to encourage you to do that. Plus, sometimes we have, you know, challenges or prizes, like, you know, to try to get you guys motivated. We'll hand out gift cards, slushy tickets, you know, just like different things to get you guys going, especially if your grades are down. We've had students where they started off here in September and they had Fs. And one day, you know, during their asynchronous time, they worked on a lot of their assignments and they were able to pull up their grade from an F to like a B. So, you know, those types of things for us, it's a win. And it's good to be able to just to sit and work with you guys. And we just figure it out together. Like, we don't say that we know everything that you guys are learning, but we try to figure it out. So we will sit here and we will, you know, look at your assignments and say, okay, if we can't figure this out, let's go to like YouTube or Google and look up some examples. But, you know, we want you to know that there's people here to support and encourage you, outside of your teachers, outside of your family. We're here to support. Another piece of it is the after school programming. So typically pre-COVID, we would have after school programming for all of our students. But right now what we're doing is we have programming in the after school just for our middle and high school students. And it's 3 days a week from 3 to 5. And you guys are able to come in. You're doing different things, not necessarily working on assignments, but if that's something that you need help with and you can't come during the day, you want to come in the evening after school, you're able to do that. So right now our middle and high schoolers are cooking on Mondays, which they all are pretty much loving it. And then they're doing some type of writing skill or conversation pieces on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and just kind of talking about things that are affecting their lives right now. You know, looking at world events and how is that, you know, affecting you, and just kind of how can we work collaboratively to just kind of, you know, in our community to touch on those things. And then like it shows on there, summer camp, we do offer summer camp. This past summer, we did a teen youth work experience. So we were able to offer high schoolers and middle schoolers that were able to work. We offered you time for you to come out and work, filled out an application, and then you received a stipend. So you were getting work experience as well as being able to be around and get those social skills that you needed. So definitely for me, I would say that if you're struggling with your classes and you really are looking for somewhere else to go outside of like the extended day tutoring program at McCaskey, or just outside of just reaching out to your teachers, the Mix is definitely a place to come and go to. I know there are other organizations that probably offer help as well. So just trying to reach out to one of those organizations to help assist you. Mr. Joe has been with the Mix for 9-10 years. So he can talk a little bit more on how the students that he's seen come through the Mix and yeah, their stories.
Yeah, I would just say, I understand it's kind of difficult, you know, as you know, everybody keeps saying the same thing about it being difficult. I kind of live by where I am is where I am, but that's not where I'm staying. And I'm gonna say it again, where I am is where I am, but that's not where I'm staying. And I say that because, to be honest with you, you might be really seriously be in a position that you feel stuck. But if you really seriously make up your mind that that's not where you're staying, you can get out of that place. I have seen, just down through the years, like as Ms. Marisol said, probably this year being the toughest time just because of transition. And I'm seeing where a lot of the students are trying to navigate the transition of, first of all, not being in school, transition of not seeing their friends, the transition of so much uncertainty. But I have been telling all of the students that have been under the sound of my voice that there's other students who basically who have been going through what you're living through right now, and they're getting through it. Unfortunately, there's other parts of the country that, do not have resources at all. And they somehow make it happen with a made up mind. And again, I think that it's your job just to reach out, just to say, hey, I need help. Needing help does not mean that you're weak. Needing help does not mean that you're beneath anybody. But needing help is a tool. It's a thing that it shows others that, like, wow, they really want it. And there's like myself or Miss Marisol, and even outside of the mix, those are signs that, like, what, I want to make sure that I'm able to help them because they're at least asking. A lot of times, many students just don't ask, and those are the ones that unfortunately get overlooked. And then you have those feelings of nobody hears me. But it's your job just to say, here's the classes that I have. Can you please help me, navigate it or get through it? Coming in and just saying, I need help is a very strong statement, because it's then our job to help you get to where you need to get to. So, don't sit back. If you had a rough first market period, cool. Let's move on. And, we're now going to be getting to the second market period, third and fourth. Finish strong, and then make up your mind that when you enter 10th grade, that you remember the things that you went through in ninth grade, and you don't make those same mistakes. So, Mr. Joe, I'm definitely here. Just give us a holler. I'm very cool and laid back, but I seriously am about each and every student that comes my way. And if there's anything that I ever can do to help anybody, any questions, comments, concerns, please seriously just let me know.
All right. Thank you so much to both of you. Yeah, the Mix is a wonderful resource to us here in Lancaster. There are other programs doing similar things, but we're super fond of the Mix. So if you are interested, the website is right there on the screen, and please do check it out because it can change your life. It's an amazing institution. All right, moving on. We are now going to hear from again. Nice try. We're going to hear from Ms. Christina Williams, who's going to tell us all about the Lancaster Partnership Program.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. And thank you, Marisol and Joseph, for sharing those wonderful words and talking about the Mix. My name is Christina Pantoja Williams. As Mr. Jago had shared, I work at Millersville University, and I get the fantastic opportunity to work with McCaskey High School students through the Lancaster Partnership Program. The Lancaster Partnership Program has been around now 30 years, serving the school district of Lancaster. The wonderful thing about our program is that it is exclusive for School District of Lancaster students. So this is a program dedicated to supporting students in high school at McCaskey, students from 9th through 12th grade. So I am excited to see that there are so many 9th graders here, because a lot of times we like to grasp and work with our 9th grade students so we can start working on what it takes to be a successful high school student, right? And so the fact that you guys are here and you're participating in this webinar, I think it's really, really says a lot about you, and the fact that you're really serious about getting yourself ready and being prepared and doing well in high school. And so with the LPP program, as I mentioned, we work with 9th through 12th graders, and we work with students to sort of help encourage them to stay in high school, but to do well while they're there. And so for students in 9th grade, as Mr. Jago mentioned, that transition from middle school to high school can be very difficult. And we know that. Anytime you're starting fresh or you're starting something new, a lot of time that adjustment period, it takes a little bit of time for you to get used to this new setting, a new way of learning. And especially during COVID, we all know that the way we've learned before has been completely turned upside down. And so for our ninth graders beginning in high school, not only are you transitioning to high school, but you're also transitioning into this new COVID way of learning. And so with LPP, we work with students to help you be successful students. So depending on who you are, where you are, no matter what your GPA is, we want to know about you and how we can work with you to be successful. So we provide opportunities for students to participate in workshops that talks about interpersonal skills, workshops that talks about having a college going mindset, workshops that talks about what are the tools that students need to be successful. So is that study skills? Is that note-taking skills? A big thing that Mr. Joseph from the mix mentioned is just that initial thing of asking for help, right? And so we have really been working with our students, especially our ninth graders and me for freshmen in college, about this thing about being an active participant in your education, right? And so asking for help, as easy as it may sound, it is not very easy for students to do. So what does it mean for you to be an active participant in your education? And that may mean, how do we get you to feel comfortable enough to ask your support system, whether that's in school, whether that's at your home, whether that's my program or the mix or other programs that you might be connected to for help, whether that's help with homework or help with understanding concepts that you're studying. And so we work really hard at teaching those skills of like, how do I ask for help? Knowing your resources. So with McCaskey High School, the beautiful thing about the high school that you attend is that you do have a lot of resources. Now it's connecting you to those resources and making sure you can ask for help and utilizing those resources. So for my ninth graders, you know, LPP, a lot of what we do is connecting students to those resources, is connecting students to the right habits and skills so that you can be a successful student your ninth grade year and continue to work towards being a better student every year, from 9th to 10th, from 10th to 11, from 11 to 12, and even thereafter. So what are your plans after, right? So we have this wonderful program. It is completely 100% free for students and families who decide to participate in it. Typically during a COVID-free year, we provide students opportunities to come to Millersville, immerse themselves in the college campus, participate in workshops. Every summer, we typically have what's called a summer academy so that you can get a full college experience and immerse yourself in that college setting. And we provide career readiness. So like what types of careers are available. We connect you to different offices within the community. And the biggest thing that Lancaster Partnership has for students, as Mr. Jago mentioned, is an opportunity to receive scholarship dollars if you decide that post-secondary education is your next steps, and if you decide that Millersville University is your school of choice. And this scholarship, once again, is completely free for students, and it's based on your high school GPA entering Millersville. So when we talk about being a good student in high school, it is really important for students to understand that everything you do in high school from 9th and up impacts the amount of money you can receive in scholarship dollars for a lot of scholarships that are merit-based scholarships. And so this is why it's so important now that we have your attention and you're here to understand that although maybe your first marking period may have not been the best, that doesn't mean that we give up and say, well, it wasn't that good. You know, I didn't do well. We say, okay, how can we work with you to ensure that this doesn't happen again, your second, third, and fourth marking period? What can we do to help you be successful as you transition from marking period to marking period? Because ultimately, your freshman GPA as a ninth grader impacts your cumulative GPA for all 4 years that you're in high school. And that ultimately will impact how many scholarship dollars you can receive if you receive a merit-based scholarship. So for Lancaster Partnership students, if they decide Millersville is the next steps, if you have a 3.21 GPA or higher, a 4.0, etc., you can receive up to $5,000 every year for up to 5 years if it takes you to complete your 4-year degree. And so we always tell students, although you're receiving a free education and you consider your education just a part of something that you're doing, consider it like a job, because the more you get, the higher your grades are, the more money you can receive. And so if you break down the amount of money you can receive into an hourly rate, this is what you're working for. And so we really want students to grasp this concept of, let me see what I can do to be the best student I can be. Let me see what I can do to be successful, so that in the end, I can have the best opportunities available for me to receive scholarship dollars and the best education. That's my next steps. So with Lancaster Partnership, our scholarship does provide students that opportunity. Now, I always cover with my ninth graders, because typically my ninth graders are like, I don't know if I want to go to college. I don't know if Miller's knows where I want to go. And that's okay. We work with every student, regardless of what school you might be looking at, regardless of whether you think college is going to be your next steps within, at the end of your educational stay at McCaskey. We just want to support you while you're a high school student, and then work with you when you're almost finished to figure out, okay, what are my next steps? And that means working with you and working with your families, working with you, working with the college and career staff at McCaskey. And so one of the things you're going to learn as a ninth grader is that your support system and what's available to you can really help you make this high school experience easier, right? We know high school is difficult. We know virtual learning is difficult. So how can we help you find out a way to make this process a little bit easier? Who do we need to connect you with so that you can make sure that if you're having trouble in math, that we can support you so that you can be successful? And a lot of that happens when you make the right connections and you have individuals here, just like the mix at Arbor Place, just as Mr. Jago and your assistant principals, that want to ensure your success by connecting you with the right people. So I highly encourage, my ninth graders who are here to look into the Lancaster Partnership Program. As I mentioned, it's a completely free program. We have virtual meetings and virtual one-on-ones with our students just to see how you're transitioning and connecting you to the services or whatever it is that you may need in order to be a successful student. And if you need additional information, my contact information, you can get it. I can put it in the chat, but you can always get it through the College and Career Center. So LPP is a great program, like as I mentioned, 9th through 12th grade, and we're here to support you. And I really commend you guys for being here and listening and learning about the programs that are at your school to help support you.
All right. I think my internet went out there, but I'm back. Hopefully you can hear me. Thank you, Miss Christina. That was wonderful. Okay, so now to turn it over to some of our special VIP guests. These young men have given us their time this afternoon. We're very grateful for it. Our 2020 grads. So I have some questions for them. If you have questions in the Q&A, please do send those in, and I will kind of sort of pass them over to the grads as we go along. Before we get into some kind of questions about ninth grade and things like that, let's go. Dejan, if you would please just speak a little bit about Link Crew and give our ninth graders more of an idea of what that looks like for a ninth grader, what your involvement in it was like as well. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, I experienced both sides of Link Crew. So ninth grade, I had 2 Link Crew members where they helped me throughout the year. If I had questions, I go to them. And then by my 12th grade year, I became a Link Crew, and I had kids of my own who came to me with questions, even if they just had, if it was a simple question or a hard question, it was about school or how to deal with school outside of school. So it's basically just somebody there to help you.
All right, thank you. Do any of the other grads who were also Link Crew leaders want to add anything? The floor is yours.
I would say I was only in Link Crew my senior year, but I would say that the Link Crew was a very key part of my my success freshman year. I was able to not only was I able to reach out to them, they consistently reached out to me and made sure that I was okay in my classes, like I knew what I was doing, and it was just a really big help in my freshman year.
All right, thanks, Jose. So yeah, ninth graders, if you're interested in Link Crew, reach out to me. I can connect you with the teachers responsible for that. Miss Welk is the person who would be able to pair you up with a senior. There's, I think, over 100 seniors who don't have ninth graders attached to them yet. So if you want to be part of Link Crew, you have 100% chance of being a part of Link Crew. So I would definitely recommend that. All right, so talking about ninth grade, because that's kind of where we're here. Let's go to Jason. Jason, why don't you talk a little bit about how you navigated the transition from 8th to ninth grade? What was difficult? What did you do to be successful? Because I dug in the archives and I looked up some of your transcripts, and it looks like you had a pretty decent ninth grade. So what did you do to navigate that successfully?
Well, first of all, I want to say you got to get all the distractions out the way. I know for me personally, the first half of freshman year was fun, but academically it was not as strong as my second half. And I guess the biggest thing that I realized and had to do as far as navigating that transition was just realize that you're not in middle school anymore. Like you're not the top dog. You're now at the bottom of the food chain as far as things go, you know? But once you just realize, listen, I got to get this done. I got to get my work done so that I can be back at the top dog spot academically, and I guess in general as well. But you just got to get yourself together. Like you can't have anything distracting you on the outside.
All right, thank you. Dabiance, what would you add to that? What was your transition like from 8th grade to ninth grade?
My transition, it was at first it was pretty rough. I didn't fully, grasp the whole importance of the whole first year. It was, I spent most of my ninth grade goofing off, and I had plenty of people such as my Link Crew members tell me, like, you got to get in line, jump. So yeah, it was pretty rough, but I got it together in the end, and that's one of the things that I regret.
All right, well, thank you for being so honest. I think that's kind of the theme of this thing, right? Like when you get to ninth grade, you don't know what it is. You don't know how serious it is. You don't know that it's 25% of your high school career and that it really matters. So, we're lucky that we have so many people on this call today that have figured that out. We have a question in the chat. I think that Dr. Raff is going to answer. Jose, I'll go to you. So I know that you are a big time wrestler. Do you feel like being involved in a sport while you were in high school kind of helped you academically, or how was that experience?
So being involved in a sport was definitely the best part of my high school career. I've wrestled my whole life, and just being able to be a part of a team that not only cared about you, but cared about how you were doing academically, physically, mentally, spiritually. Like they all like made sure that I was good, And I think that wrestling was my key part of my whole transition, because I wrestled in middle school and I had already made high school friends on the wrestling team in my middle school career. So that whole just being part of something bigger than yourself is definitely, especially like a sports team, is definitely something that is key to being able to just to navigate high school in general. So.
All right, cool. Thank you. And then, so Alan, I'll pivot to you. I know we've talked a few times over the last few months as you've got into college. I don't think you were involved in sports in high school, but what was it that got you through? Like, did you have a student group, or what kept you motivated through high school? Do we have Alan?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me well?
Yep, we got you.
Yeah, so for me, I, like you said, I was not involved in sports, but I was really involved in after school tutoring. throughout my freshman to junior year. Since my senior year, I did do enrollment with Dr. Stevens. Tutoring was like a really key part of my success because basically most of the time I did not need help, but it was a really nice place for me to be able to get work done. Since I knew that over at my house I would get distracted, being able to have the support of teachers and also be able to help other students as well because maybe some of them had trouble understanding, so I would just go and help with my free time. So it was a good opportunity of being able to get help but also help others, and that was like, I would say, like the resource that really kept me motivated in McCaskey.
All right, thank you. So we'll go back to you, Jason. So other than, and I know that, you know, you did some sports, but I feel like music was your thing. I mean, you're like Mr. Music here at McCaskey. So like, was that helpful academically? Because I feel like, you know, you had all these different band practices and musicals and plays. And how did you still find time to get your studying done?
Kind of the same thing that I said earlier. You got to learn how to, it was a lot of time management because I will admit, especially my junior year, it did take a toll on my academics because I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean? I had all this stuff going on, and then I had all this other academic stuff going on. But once I hit my senior year and I was in most of the ensembles, it really was like an aha moment. You got to just, I got this stuff I need to do. I got this stuff I want to do. You got to put them together and figure out which one's more important. And it's always going to be the need. So once you figure that out, that's when you can really start to do the things that you want, when you figure out the things that you need first.
Wow, that's deep. That's great. Dejan, what would you say surprised you about ninth grade? Like coming up as an eighth grader, like what shocked you? Because I mean, you know, as a district, we do a little bit of transition work. You know, you come visit the campus, but what surprised you about ninth grade?
I'd say the big thing that surprised me about ninth grade was going from a middle school that you go from walking in line, you stay in one building, it's like, you know, everybody there, to going to a high school where McCaskey is literally a campus. So you're going from JP to East, and you're going from different teachers. You got 8 different teachers in a day. So that was a big surprise.
Jose, same question. What surprised you about coming up to the high school?
I would say the number one thing that surprised me was just the sheer amount of people. Like I'm a huge people person. I love meeting new people. And when I walked in my first day of high school with that whole freshmen came in a day early, and we had got introduced to our link leaders. It was just so many people in one place, you know, and it made me excited, but it was also a huge it was like a huge step back for me. I was like, okay, hold on, this isn't middle school. Like there's people of every nationality, every color, every age. Like there's everybody's here, you know. So I feel like that was the biggest surprise for me.
Yeah, definitely. We just had a question come through in the Q&A, and it's about virtual learning, because obviously, you know, us down here at the high school level, where some of us are really struggling with this, but for those of you who are at college, a lot of your learning is virtual right now as well, I'm assuming. So Daviance, any tips or tricks or advice for students to keep connected with virtual learning? Because I mean, me personally, I'm sitting here just doing Zoom calls all day, and it gets kind of old. But like, what advice would you have to kind of be successful at virtual learning?
For me personally, I like to keep a schedule and set reminders for every little thing. So if I have a Zoom at 2, I set a remind about that, and about like assignments as well. Like I set reminds, so because with virtual learning, it could be hard keeping track of all the Zoom calls and all the online assignments and whatnot. So it's pretty much, as if you can stay organized, then it'll be a whole lot easier.
Yeah, that's great advice. Definitely time management is huge. Anyone else on the panel want to add any tips for successful virtual learning?
Mental health. Keep your mental health good. You know what I mean? Take a day, just go outside. It doesn't even matter if you just open the door and smell the air. Just go outside, because you're stuck behind the computer all day. You get tired, your posture gets bad. Just go outside, sniff the air real quick, come back, regroup, and I guarantee you it'll be better. It definitely helps.
All right, so sniff the air. That's what we're going with. That's profound advice. I appreciate that. Dejan, you want to add something?
Yeah. One thing I'll say is big in this virtual learning stuff now is please ask for help. Because honestly, I think these teachers and professors they're new to this too. So they're used to hands-on stuff, in-person classes. But if they miss something that you felt like you needed help learning stuff on, ask for help, because then they're not gonna know what you need, and then you're gonna leave the Zoom call meeting or whatever, and then you're not gonna know what to do. So yeah, ask for help.
Definitely. I think that's been a theme kind of through this whole presentation, this whole webinar, is asking, like Mr. Joe spoke so truthfully about this. Asking for help is a brave thing to do, but sometimes it's the only thing to do. Like, you can't do this by yourself. You can't do high school by yourself. You certainly can't do college by yourself. Like, help is available. So please, please, please do ask for help when you need it. We're very close to time, so we obviously still have to do a quick raffle, because I know the real reason most of you people joining the call is that you want a chance at winning that $25, which I totally respect. That's a good reason for being involved. But while I get that sorted out, if our high school grads, if you could just give one piece of advice to our ninth graders, what would it be? And we'll start with Dejan, and then we'll go Jason, Alan, Daviance, Jose.
I would say just stay on top of everything. It's going to pay off. One day, things are going to be hard now, but in the future, it's going to pay off. I promise.
I'm next, right? All right. Biggest thing, remember these words: education is elevation. As long as you get this education, no matter how you get it, even if you feel like, I really don't want to go to this class, education is elevation. You're gonna blink and it's gonna be over. I guarantee you. And you're gonna look back like, I'm glad I went to that class. You know what I mean?
So for me, I would say an advice is don't be afraid to discover new things. Don't be afraid to discover different options, different careers, different classes, what you want to do, because during my senior year, I went to Stevens for architecture because I thought that was what I wanted to do. But little did I know that was not my thing. So then I had to learn a different thing. So now I'm in Millersville for mathematics. So what I want to say is, like, don't be afraid to change, because that's going to be an important part of what you're going to have to go through college and high school.
Okay. My piece of advice, I would say, pretty much just stay motivated. You know, like Dejan said, times is hard, but just stay motivated. You stay motivated, great things, will come your way.
My one thing to say is learn how to study now, because I didn't study in high school. I never really had to, and coming to college, I had to learn how to study very fast. And you need to study in college. It's very essential to pretty much all of your grades. it's one of the cornerstones of college. So just make sure that you listen to your teachers now when they say that, when they're trying to teach you how to study, take from it, learn how to study.
Yeah, definitely. That's a huge one. Thank you so much to all of you. Any of you of the ninth graders on the call, if you would like to be connected with one of these guys, hopefully they might be willing to let me share their email addresses with you if you're interested in reaching out to them to ask some more questions. We are almost very close to the end of our time. Just a couple of final thoughts. If you need help, you got to ask for it. You know, sometimes, particularly in this virtual environment, we won't know if you're struggling until you tell us that you're struggling. And it doesn't just have to be straight F's on a transcript to be you're struggling. Maybe you're an A student and right now you're getting C's and that feels hard to you. If you're struggling, if you need help, ask your teachers, reach out to your school counselor. They're so important to your success. Reach out to admin, you know, they're here for you as well. Good habits breed success. I think that's really what our young men just then were talking about. You know, we mentioned it with the attendance. If you have good habits now, you're going to maintain those good habits through high school and into post-secondary life and beyond, into work, into college, whatever your future may be. Good habits breed success. So start those habits now if you haven't already. You know, set small goals to yourself. I'm not telling you right now at the end of first marking period, ninth grade, to say I'm going to get an A in every class for the rest of my time in high school. You know, there's going to be bumps on the road, but set manageable goals, set measurable goals, and just work to achieve them. Maybe it's, you know, if I've got an F in a class right now, by the end of second marking period, I'm going to have a C in that class. And that is a huge milestone and a huge achievement. So set manageable goals and make a plan to achieve those goals. You know, it's all very well saying you're going to do something, but my question is how are you going to do it? And there's a whole team of people in and outside of the high school that are going to help you make those plans and achieve those goals. And then just remind you, you know, no pressure, but every year of high school matters. You know, every year is 25% of the total. So there's still plenty of time right now in ninth grade to turn things around if you need to carry on your great progress if that's what's going on. And we're all here for you. So I know that the big thing that we wanted to do before we finish the call is the raffle, because as was advertised, one student who joined the call will win a $25 gift card. So I have the names of all of our students who joined the call with a number attached. I have a random number generator. Let me run that real quick. The random number is 28. And that means that the, oh no, where did it go? Apologize for the technical difficulties right now. Oh, that's right, it was in Google. So the winner of our raffle is Skylar Hill. Congratulations, Skylar, if you're still on the call. If not, I will contact you afterwards and let you know that you were the winner. Congratulations. Those of you that did not win $25 this time around, I hope you understand that you got something far more valuable. You got the knowledge and the wisdom of our McCaskey students. You got information and support from the Mix at Arbor Place, from Miss Christina at Millersville. You know, you learned a little bit about how GPA is going to really affect you and is going to propel you to greatness. And you know that there's a whole team here that want to help you do well. So if you need help, reach out to us. We love you. We want to help you succeed. And that's it for this afternoon. So thank you again to all of our panelists for taking the time to be with us this afternoon. Thank you to campus admin for setting this up. And thank you to you, the students, for attending, because that tells us that you want to take ownership of your future, and we're going to help you do that. So thank you again. Have a great afternoon. Happy Thanksgiving. And we'll see you for another one of these sometime later on in the year. Thank you again.